from the back and use my balls as a dessert, bub.
It's the Catican.
No. We're not doing that today. It was gluten free. Yeah, no buns.
Hey, it's me, your buddy Ben.
Today's episode is brought to you by the premier app for discreetly meeting local skaters in your area, Grindr.
Colin Chandler 1-for-1 on long twos.
Some would say the heir to the Kawhi Leonard throne, Colin Chandler.
You calling him a White Claw?
What a great name.
Are you a skateboarder looking to connect with other skaters nearby? Then check out Grindr, the app that helps you discreetly meet fellow skaters. Whether you're searching for a truck stop, rest stop, or a back alley to perfect your tricks, Grindr helps you find the perfect spot to meet up with like-minded skaters.
Love to blow that 10 into 15 into 20 and really feel comfortable watching it.
Like the what?
What?
You'd like the what?
Blow that 10-point lead into a 15 lead or a 20-point lead. But
Wait, what do you think? Are you blowing 10s or?
If I'm lucky, yeah.
Single skaters, jacked skaters, down for whatever skaters, you name it. And let me tell you, this app is legit. Just ask my girlfriend. Now she's totally on board and has agreed not to ask me about it anymore. I'm connecting with skaters all over the place. So pull out your skateboard, whether it's in your garage, attic, or buried deeply in your closet. Download Grindr today. Start connecting with your local skate community, because sometimes the best rides are the ones you share.
And honestly, I thought we went through the back door way too many times. Like, I feel like that's on that type of offense.
Can you go to the back door too much?
You certainly can, depending on, a variety of circumstances, actually.
Experience, mostly, yeah.
Preparation, before.
Yeah, the preparation ritual to go to the back door is significant.
48-hour notice is what I've.
That's what I tell my wife.
The Troy game, loved it. Huge for me. My wife's boyfriend's name is Troy, so when he was picking her up to take her out on Friday night, she'll be back in the morning. I was just like, "You guys are going down tonight," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "He's playing Troy." He was like, "I went to Brown." I was like, "I didn't know you went to an HBCU."
Another one.
Jared is muted.
It's been a little while. It's been a few days. Oh man, it's the Catican. Kentucky. We lost a player. We gained a couple players, and some might say the word whiff. I wouldn't say the word whiff, but altogether, fellas, how we feeling?
I feel good. I think that our fan base is very passionate. So they kind of latch on to the commitment of the day type, They're very cyclical. But when you take just even like a 10-foot view instead of like a 10-inch view, we have a very good roster already. Transfer portal still open for business. We're probably doing a little bit of tamperization, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But you see the vision? I mean, Mark Pope is very visionary. We talked about this all year. See the vision with the guys that he's brought in, who he's targeting, casting a wide net. I like all of the stuff. I'm very excited about Yelovich. KY Jelly. He's going to be
that kind of things.
Awesome. So, yeah, very positive person, though.
Yeah, I feel good. Today wasn't fun. Finding out that Caden decommitted also wasn't fun. I was really looking forward to him, mostly over the course of his career, not necessarily this year. I mean, I think he could have been a pretty good backup, but I also thought he had some juice, especially in year 2. That would have been fun to watch. But gotta wish him luck wherever he goes. Sad we don't get any big Jarrett Allen or Jarrett Lewis takes this year. I was looking forward to those, but still like a lot what we're bringing in. Think we were missing maybe one more piece. Wilkerson would have been great there, but lots of names still in the portal. Certainly some still to enter. Haven't heard anything about any of the potential draft returnees, and we won't for maybe a month and a half. So lots of time to go, lots of roster building still to do.
Sounds like you guys aren't panicking, and I don't like that because we got to make a show here. But yeah, Wilkerson thing, big bummer. Fortunately, he did make it very easy for us with his comments immediately after of saying that that he wanted to go somewhere, and what is it, that he didn't want to just be another guy. So immediately saying that Kentucky was too good. Like,
Yeah,
weird.
what a compliment. And I don't know if he meant it as a dig or what, but to be like, yeah, and this is something we all knew would be a factor. The money was a big thing. Indiana obviously has a lot of money to spend, given that they had 4 players before this, but also they had so much more to offer in terms of role. And so the decision is, do you want to go be the best piece on that team so far and have a huge role, or do you want to come here and compete for a title? And so say like, yeah, man, I would just be another guy there. It's like, okay, cool, thanks. We thought so too. We have an awesome team.
I mean, immediately makes it clear that it wasn't going to be a culture fit. So that makes it easy to move on. But now
he doesn't understand the assignment.
Yeah, and we only want assignment understanders. So
yeah.
Immediately my heart has moved on to Braden Hawthorne. The only thing is I don't know how I feel about having a guy with a pussy name like Braden on our team, but I think that I can get over it. Braden's not here. We can say that.
Another thing about Hawthorne, while we're on that note, is I don't know. I like him. His film is fun. Haven't found a ton of stats. I think he was sort of he's like a top 75 guy who had a big growth spurt and is continuing to move up the ranking list, and I think is expected to continue that. But I'm not sure. And I don't know. I mean, kid looks like he has all the potential in the world. I just don't know what we'd have to offer him in year one. And the good problem to have is that 11 of our 12 guys have remaining eligibility for the following year too. And hopefully, maybe JQ goes pro. OA will be the one with expiring eligibility.
BG number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but for a guy you're asking like, hey, maybe you won't have a big role year one, it's tough to say, but we are also going to be rolling out probably largely the same team year 2, and what's your role going to be then?
I think that you sell him on
Wildcat attack. I do think he looks like he moves like Amen a little bit,
but he's a lot more physical. You can tell that he hasn't always been as stretched as he is now. You can watch him. He was the best player on his team, I think, and then you can watch a lot of his games because his prep school games are all on YouTube. But he gave AJ DeBance all they wanted. He moves nice, and he does have a good shot. I don't think that it's hard to project that when kids are coming to college, because the speed is so different that you don't know how they're going to be affected in their shot. But form-wise, it's good. And then also we could do a little reverse lockerization on DeVries, which would be funny, I think. So yeah, he wouldn't probably get much playing time year one, I wouldn't think, but you would be able to sell him on like, hey, once we get some stakes in you, you can be our 4 next year or whatever, I don't know.
But he needs the freshman 15 for sure.
Prospect. I think just big, long dudes, athletic dudes who have a good shot. I mean, he's a Pope guy, right? I mean, a good basketball player. So,
all right, we got some action in the chat if we want to take it there. I'm not quite sure we want to enter the Brandon Garrison discourse yet, so let's take it to the chat real quick. Very active in the chat tonight, 50 concurrent viewers. We keep hitting our new high water mark each time we do this. So thanks everybody for hanging out. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe to the stream. We are dangerously close to monetization, and that'll be crazy. Lando, friend of the show, says Ian Jackson time, And then I think further down we had asked, would we take Hawthorne or Ian Jackson from our friend Cal Cada. Would you take Jackson or Hawthorne? I mean, personally, I would take Jackson, but I just don't think he's coming here. So
I think we're going to run into the problem where we have a loaded roster.
Yeah.
And I think Jackson better fits our immediate need. I mean, I know somebody said, "Hey, where does the shooting come from?" I'm not as worried about that as others. If you look at Florida this year, they didn't have a Kobe Brea or an Ansley Almanor 40% guy. They just had a ton of 35+% guys. And I think we could be that, especially if Lowe regresses back up a little bit. It seems like everyone at this point is at least capable of being a decent shooter, except for JQ and Malachi, and maybe even JQ if he has more spacing. Not that I'd bank on that. So I think Jackson's a bigger immediate need, but I also think he's going to be super expensive, jumping in late. Not sure he wants to compete either. So I don't know.
I mean, I think that is a weird thing, right? Is the narrative right now is we need shooters. I am high on year 2 Colin shooting because the last 2 months he was like a 50% from 3 guy. Kam can shoot the shit out of the ball. And then we have just like average shooters, which is good. I don't know.
Diabate is an excellent shooter on incredibly limited volume, like
so
0.7 shots per game. But yeah, I mean, I think it could come from anywhere. It'd be great to add another real shooting piece where that's a big part of their game. But I mean, seriously, pull up Florida's roster and look at it. Where did their shooting come from? It came from everywhere but their bigs.
Yep.
And I think we are in a position to be similar in that respect.
Yeah. And then Brandon Garrison's probably going to shoot like 60% from 3 next year. He might be our backup 2, our backup 1, backup 4, and backup 5. Versatile.
Oh man, more to the chat. We got Lincoln saying it would be nice if Kentucky fans would stop celebrating commits before they happen, making us look like dumbasses. Now, we're here at the Catican. We're as guilty of this as anybody else because you had seen anything that we posted online this week. I mean, today we were planning to have a celebratory stream for Wilkerson. And there was someone here saying that KSR acting like we had him in the bag. It's a good thing we didn't record yesterday because we would have just done a show with the assumption that Wilkerson was a cat. So he kind of threw us a curveball today too. But yeah, I mean, logically that would make sense. But it's sports fandom, man. You know, I'm just gonna enjoy it as they come, and then I love sowing. It's the reaping that gets you. So
that's true. Now. Also, he wasn't a take, not a culture fit, and he got recruited over. So we moved.
One criticism I have of our fan base a little bit, and that's not to say this was reported by everyone super well, but people do have a tendency to like look and see positive news and then sort of run with it in a way that makes it sound more done than it is. And I think that's how we get here. And it's funny because it's all of these scoop guys want to have good positive news, and so if they're reporting anything along the way, it comes off that way. But I think we as a fan base have to decide if we want these little incremental updates, like "Hey, staff feels good," or kind of funny the "Be ready." If he got a text that said that, do we want him to report that or not? Or do we just want to know when it's done at the end, and then why bother paying for scoops, guys?
I want my cake and I want to eat it too. Thank you very much. I want to know the scoops before they happen, and I want all the scoops to be
I want them to be right.
And I want to talk trash immediately all the time. That's the thing. They made me look like an idiot. All right. I had been dunking on Indiana fans for like 6 straight hours. And then I had to completely not look at the chat after that. I mean, I left completely. I didn't go back in there after that happened, and I won't ever go back in that chat ever again.
Yeah, what do I do with this pile of receipts I had ready to go?
Yeah, no. I made so many.
Is there anything more sad than deleting the receipts you had saved that are no longer worth sharing and making fun of someone with?
The worst.
Or the horse picture. I'm gonna have to go back and.
We can't show the horse picture on YouTube, can we? There's no chance.
I don't know.
I don't think we can. I'm pretty sure we can't.
Though
there was an edited version.
Yeah.
For those not in the know, we had a picture of a horse, and it was partly censored with the word boom. Yeah. Nothing to it, you know. We love horses here in the bluegrass. Lincoln says, fair enough. I thought we had him. Just wish the fan base wouldn't turn on Mark Pope so quick after every little thing that goes wrong. We have a great roster already. You are in complete agreement with the Catican, sir.
Ball nowhere.
Yeah. You know, just got to take it in stride. The portal gives, portal takes. And sometimes, you know, you have days like today where you thought you had a kid in the bag, and then each has linears you. You know, it happens. Well, ask every girl I went to high school with. They're the same thing.
Think about, like, what's the best, just objectively, the best method of going about portal is wide net, early interactions, short interactions with players, trying to get a gauge on interest, on role, all that stuff. But then every one of those agents tells KSR, whoever, Kentucky's been in contact. So even though, like, it's probably the best way to go about the portal because it's so quick and you always need contingencies and you want to be able to build a roster in your image. It's like it doesn't work very well for like the hyper online fandom psyche. So you got to pick your poison right. But I think objectively, it's the best way to go about the portal is just always having a lot of options and recruiting archetypes rather than like people specifically.
It does get tough online though when you cast a wide net and then people come and bitch at you and say, hey, look, all of these were whiffs, and it's like, not really though. I mean, you really have no sense. I mean, obviously with like a Wilkerson or a Yates or a Dent, you know, the staff was like all in, really wanted that guy. But with some of these people, it's like all you know is that they contacted them. It could have been the 5th or 6th guy on the priority list. You have no sense at all. And that makes for really annoying online discourse for Kentucky fans because you get like, hey, look, another whiff. But it's like, I don't think it really was.
Like with
Wilkerson,
Pierre,
sure. Some of these
with
not.
Pierre committing to SMU. That's not a whiff. Kentucky just backed out of that one. But, you know, I guess they'll say we whiffed on Ryland Griffin when we decided we didn't want him either.
Exactly.
And then also, this might change as we get more regulation with the NIL transfer portal stuff, but it's Wild West free agency, unlike any sport league, every single year. And it's even like not as bad in football for college because there's a big difference in like talent disparity from Power 5 to G5 to D2 or whatever. But here it's like you have NAIA kids getting $250,000 to go to a D1 school in basketball. It is crazy. I imagine it's going to calm down. I imagine this year might be extra crazy because it's going to calm down. So people are just trying to get the bags while they can. But yeah, I think it's fun. I like to poke fun online. It's fun.
Is the rumor that IU hired like a coach specifically for Wilkerson, is that true?
Pilgrim reported it, so I guess. No, and there were rumblings that there was some like non-NIL ask. I don't know if he asked the same of us and we just weren't in a position to do it, nor do I think we would or should.
Keeping a seat warm for Rick is what we're doing.
But a name has been floated for one of the IU assistant spots that was a Sam Houston associate head coach that Pilgrim said was not just a coach, but like more like a mentor role. So I don't know, man. If that's what you want, I don't think I don't think you have the leverage to ask us to do that. And yeah,
Yeah,
that might mean we won't get you, but like we like our staff.
Yeah, the second Kentucky starts doing that, then it starts feeling a little bit sad and desperate. And I don't think that the roster was in the shape that we would feel compelled to do something like that.
I did say it sounds like DeVries is having a little bit of trouble assembling his staff, and so it's nice of Lamar to sort of help him with the decision making process. What a real team player already. Not to say that this guy's a bum. Like I don't know anything about this coach. He could be a great coach, great recruiter. Obviously he meant something to Lamar if he's trying to bring him along in this way. But yeah, I don't like that.
Joe Raftery, the fifth Beatle, says, "Are there any potential guys withdrawn from the NBA draft that we could nab?" I know last week we talked about RJ Luis. He's kind of the first one that comes to mind for me. I'm not sure how well of a fit he is. I just know he's a 2, and he was an All-American. And I don't think you say no to a guy like that if he's interested. I just don't know if he's someone we'd be willing to drop a bag on that he would probably command with kind of I don't really see a clean fit for him, and he doesn't really help from a shooting perspective from what I know about him.
I think our go ahead.
I guess that kind of goes into it seems like we're looking for one more like pretty big splash of a player from the portal, and it's looking like it's going to be a guard, a 1 or a 2. What do you guys think is the ceiling raiser, right? Because in my head, I'm like a Lamont Butler-esque defender in the 1 or the 2 is what I think would be the most. It just and then you have some versatility with like Colin and Jasper maybe being that PG2, or they could be backup at the 2. So you can make that decision based off of availability and pivot where you need to. But I don't know. Shooting to me just seems a little bit overrated because a lot of times last year we didn't get as many shots because we were bad at rebounding or we didn't cause turnovers or whatever. And it's like, especially in the SEC, when they let you just street fight all game, what matters? And it's like dogs. So
I
RJ
think
is a dog.
Yeah. I think primarily what we should be looking at is another ball handler. So while I think that Jasper or Colin could maybe fill in spot minutes here, I don't necessarily love the idea of them being point guard 2 on the team. I think I don't know much about Jasper's ball handling ability. I've seen Colin. I've seen where it improved as the year went on, but I also saw some real low lights from him midway through the season. So I think just to put everyone at ease, if we found a real solid ball handler, distributor type guy, I think I'd value that even over another shooter. If there's one thing that I'm confident in this staff in is that they'll figure out a way to put points on the board. And I don't think we can look at it as simple as he shoot 3 good, he go to Kentucky. Like I think there's a bit more to it than that.
I agree with you on that part. I was pushing back against that every time someone said, "Hey, we need Trace and Eaglestaff, or we need Max Green, or we need some other random, incredibly high usage on a terrible team white guy that shoots threes well." Um, I really didn't like that approach, and so I'm glad that it seems like we didn't do that. But I do sort of feel like I watched quite a bit of Jasper at OTE, and I think he is. I think he's a borderline starter. I mean, I think he could be our starting 2. If we got like a Wilkerson, I was fine pushing him to the bench at least to start the season. But I also think he could be PG too. He did a lot. He played a lot of point guard at OTE. Did pretty well with it. Was 3rd in their league in assists per game at like 5.8. So I think he's a capable handler and passer. I agree that it'd be nice not to rely on him in that role, but I think he's capable.
So I do want people to remember also that kids from the age 15 to 18 change a lot. So like I see a lot of pictures of Jasper, like he's like a young kid and baby face, whatever. So, but like kids get really drastically different right as soon as they hit college age, and Jasper is a lot more physically imposing as a player than people probably realize because all of the highlights that they've seen are like him when he was 15, 16 years old. So I do think that potential is definitely there and if he was to do that and come in and be like a good defender and his shot is very, very pretty, he could be a one and done type player, which I think might bode well for recruiting going forward. But also, I don't think that we can bring in like a sophomore, junior point guard, right? Like it's going to have to be a senior who knows that they're going to be on the bench, or maybe a freshman. But then, I mean, we just lost the Caden, so I don't know what the idea is.
And we have to remember we lost Kerr too, and not that I think Kerr necessarily has a clear-cut good role for him on this team either, but it is kind of funny to have lost 2 point guards and now be sitting here thinking, man, what are we going to do at backup point guard?
I think there has to be some sort of plan in place if we are to believe that it was a mutual decision that Caden Lewis and the staff agreed to part ways, right? It can't just be, hey, we're pretty sure we're going to get Wilkerson. So
yeah,
there has to be contingency plans in place. I just don't know what they are right now. Not that we have to, but it's a bit uneasy of a feeling right now, even though keep in mind we are stressing like literally one roster spot right now.
Belmont kid, they went to North Carolina and sucked.
Cade Tyson.
Hey,
is it Aiden Mahaney season?
I don't think it's Aiden Mahaney season. Cade Tyson is scary given that when he moved up, it didn't seem to translate super well, but he was so good at Belmont. I remember how upset people were when we missed on him. Mm-hmm. And it's tough then to sort of switch your mind back into like, oh, but maybe there are some bright sides. I mean, he's big. I think he's like 6'7". He, at least at Belmont, shot lights out. Maybe Hubert's offense sucked, and that was a problem for him.
Maybe.
And under our great Mark Pope offense, it'd be different. But I do think to the extent we add shooters, we need like guard shooters and maybe not forward shooters. I mean, we've got our 4s and 5s are stacked, and then at 3 we're kind of penciling in Scooting Oway up, and we have Kam and we have Mo who may play down a little bit. We have Chandler who may play up a little. I mean, in that 2-3 area, we have a lot of guys. 3-4 area, we have a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Otis says Isaiah Sellers could be a good guard to get. I could go for Sellers.
I would too, but I think he's locked in at Oklahoma, right?
No, I don't know. He keeps coming up. I often will sit there on Hoop Explorer, and they have a list of transfer portal guys, and you can filter it in a million different ways, and it's kind of fun to use to just try and find people that you hadn't been considering before. And Sellers pops up on my list pretty often. I think we had some initial contact with him. I don't know how that's going. I don't know how. I'm sure it got put on the back burner for Wilkerson. I don't know how the rest of his portal experience has gone, but I like Sellers a lot.
Yeah, we're sitting in literally the exact same spot we were for like a month almost last year, waiting for that last roster spot. Yep. And we just got Chaz Lanierd too, and then we ended up with Jackson. So it could be somebody coming out of the draft. It could be somebody who hasn't even entered the portal yet.
Hey, you're muted.
Yeah, Caleb, you muted up, bud. I thought that was me for a second. Wow. Oh no. We're doing the thing. We're doing the thing where the person online mutes
No, I
while he
I
does
agree with
that.
him in that
There we go.
in that we've been in this situation before, and someone was asking about the NBA withdrawals. I think the deadline for that to retain your eligibility is May 28th. So to the extent we're waiting on that, we've got a while to wait. But that's where I'm really happy that we're just really looking for one piece, and we're not in Indiana who now has a starting lineup and that's it.
We were also seemingly looking for our star piece last year still. And I don't think we're in that position either, which is nice. We have a lot of, I mean, the idea that you have JQ and BG at the 5, Yelovich, who we're going to see more stuff about him just because there's going to be a lot more content generated from Kentucky fans going nuts over it. But I think he's really good. Mo can get to the basket. He's a fighter. But then at the 3, you have Otega Owe and Kam. Like, I feel really good that both of those dudes are like, go get you a bucket, whatever type dudes. And then at the 2, we got I don't really know how the 1-2 is envisioned right now. But Jasper, Colin, Noah, LeBarn, these are guys that can go get you. I mean, think about Colin Chandler at the half in the Sweet 16. Shot it from like half court. It felt like just in Tennessee's face. He is about to get married. We know what that means. I don't know.
We'll
We
turn a
have
man.
guys that I feel like can be stars already, not just waiting on a Jackson or Chaz Lanier or whoever to fill that last roster spot, which is
What about the Duke point guard that entered the portal? I'd kick the tires on him.
isn't he also
Evans?
going to does he test in the draft too?
Evans? I don't know. Proctor might, but
Oh, did Evans enter the portal?
I saw some rumors that there's just people online saying we go after him.
If he does, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I do think one of the things that's helpful, we're talking about shooting and who might our star be. I need to watch more, but I've really liked what I've seen from Yelovich. I mean, he's played in the I think upper tier of the Adriatic League for a couple years now, done pretty well, 30 minutes a game. Shoots 30 this year. He shot 32% on like triple the attempts as Garrison. BG loves BG time.
Oh, yeah.
So and he's 6'10". I mean, if you get another guy in there that they can, I think he can play kind of both 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's willing to shoot, looks like he rebounds and rim runs pretty well. I think he can be a really great piece for us.
He reminds me a lot. He's like a souped up Andrew Carr almost with the way he plays. He moves a little bit better. Looks like he's a little bit quicker. Seems like he shoots a little bit better. I like Andrew Carr. Don't get me wrong, but this kid, like, it seems like tailor made for the position.
Meeting with pro teams last year for the draft, like,
yeah.
So
I mean, that team put out, at least on the top of my head, put out Goga Patatse, who was a few years ago a first round pick in the NBA draft. So,
Joker,
Eddie, is that the same league that Big Z was in? I didn't realize that. Yeah, it looks like Yelovich was at almost 11 points per game versus the 3 you said Z had in that league. That's encouraging. I think he's a great ad. I'm really excited about that.
Also, watching him hit layups. When last year I felt like I was going to pull my hair out just a few times with the team when it was like shooting a shot
That's
from
awesome.
3 feet away from the rim instead of just being tall, to the rim. Watching him just already have that natural inclination, I think that it's going to be a pretty satisfying brand of basketball in our front court. I don't think JQ is going to ever be like a shooter, but he can get from the 3-point line to the rim as if it was a shot. Like it's ridiculous. He is a ridiculous athlete. You can't give him space. He will go around everybody and just make a highlight reel dunk. And we also have this. My whole thing with BG was, if BG leaves, who's going to be our backup five? What if what if JQ's not ready to start the season, and then we got to play 5 big out of conference games and all this stuff? And it's like, we have that quelled. We also quelled it even more with Yelovich.
Yep.
Everybody's staying. Our front court looks good. I don't know. I think our last piece is almost like we're sitting here like a playoff team who has their first round pick. They're going to pick a running back or something, luxury pick for this last piece. What raises our ceiling the most? I think Wilkerson was a good target
for sure.
But, sometimes you just want to go make $1 million more, which I would do pretty much anything for $1 million. So I get it. I have no morals.
DMs.
Yeah.
All right.
Thea wants to know who our first, second, and third strings for point guard and shooting guard are. And we sort of talked about that offline a little bit before we got on, and I think that's pretty fun, even if it isn't set in stone. I mean, like right now, looking at the depth chart we have, probably Perry is listed second, but I think Jasper would play backup point guard before Perry would. I think Chandler would. And if you slide either of those from shooting guard down, you can slide Oweh back to shooting guard, or Kam. If you do that, you can slide Mo from 4 to 3, play with Yelovich. And I mean, I think that we have so much versatility that we aren't going to find ourselves in the same problem we did last year. Last year, I mean, you'd say Perry was our third string point guard, but he really wasn't, because Robinson was a better ball handler and like your third option there. And so here, I think even if you have Perry listed as PG2, you have a lot of guys that will be your option at ball handler before you get down to him.
I think we have a lot of 0.5s, right? So we have like a 1.5, a 2.5, a 3.5, and a 4.5. And that is, it's a very obviously like an answer to the problem that we faced last year, where you have, like, imagine you're in the SEC and JQ and BG get 4 fouls apiece. Like, then we have Yelovich, who is 6'10", and he blocks the ball well in the Euros. Maybe he'll do it in the SEC. I don't know. But we have, that versatility, I think, to slide up, slide down, to both still maintain this system is important. And so positionless but not systemless. Marco, please.
And that was one of the reasons I really liked the Dioubate ad too. I think that he and Kam both really incredibly versatile. People were penciling in, before we had Yelovich, they were penciling in Kam as like a backup 4. But I think in some interview he said he thought he'd mostly be playing 2 and 3. I mean, it's just, but he's 6'8", he shoots, he rebounds, he's a good defender. I mean, to have that versatility in not just a couple, but a lot of your players is so helpful from an injury perspective, a foul trouble perspective, not having a good night perspective. It really is helpful. A lineup, matchup problem perspective. It's great to be able to shift around that way.
They just switch everything on defense like that. Like, they do some crazy lineups. And I don't even think it's necessarily a 1-to-1 from last year's team to this year's team. So people will say things like, we have to have somebody to slide into the Kobe Bryant role. Well, no, we don't, because we could just figure something else out. Like, not every season you're going to have a Kobe Bryant type or a Lamont Butler type, or goodness gracious, you're not going to have an Amari Williams type each year. So you just get the best collection of talent you can get, and then just figure it out from there. You got to put your players in a position to succeed, and not just copy this same archetype each and every year, because people will eventually figure that out.
Yeah.
One thing I think I look,
we're gonna have a big, right? We're gonna have a big orchestrating the offense. That's a system.
I think we use right now the Amari Williams type or a Lamont Butler type or a Kobe Bryant type vocabulary because we haven't really seen Pope with anything else. I think as hopefully this is a really long relationship we have with him as our coach, and over that period of time, we're going to have just different rosters. And I think that adapting his system to the personnel he has is one of his strong suits. That was something that he was known for at BYU. He played differently depending on whether he had Khalifa or Traore in. And so as we see him do this with more guys, as we see what a Malachi Moreno archetype looks like in his offense, then we'll have better vocabulary. And maybe going forward, we can slot guys in like that better. But we had a lot of one-of-ones on our team last year, and I don't think it's fair to try and slot our new guys into those roles.
All right, back to the chat here. Troy Rafferty says, "Are the Nate Ament dreams dead?" I think so.
I think Nate Ament might have killed the Nate Ament dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't gladly take him. I don't see where he fits, and I don't see where we fit what he wants. Which is apparently a big old bag of money and probably the Boozer twins.
I'm curious to see where he ends up, how this ends up. I feel like he may have made a mistake by waiting until portal season to commit, because before portal season, you're one of the last options, certainly one of the last good options in the high school class. Then portal season comes around and they're not any cheaper, but they're experienced. They've been playing against quantifiable competition. You can see their stats, you can see their film, and I haven't even thought about Ament in a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting decision to have waited like this.
Speaking of high schoolers, is Malachi our only true 5? I feel like he's like Lowe is a true 1. Malachi might be our only true 5, but I could see JQ playing from the corner, cutting.
Yeah. JQ. I don't like JQ and BG in together, or JQ and BG maybe, because BG, if he keeps up 30% shooting or improves, maybe. I don't like JQ and Malachi together, especially if JQ is still sub 20% shooter. Malachi shot 1-3 at McDonald's All-American game, and he made it, but it was ugly. And then a video came out showing at the Hoop Summit all of the guys, running through a warm-up where they shot threes. Malachi shot one, and the guy who was filming it said, "Jesus." I mean, it looked like a trebuchet. It was like behind his head. It was awful. So I don't know that I want him playing with another guy who can't shoot, but
I don't want any of the three of them playing together, and I don't think that means that one of them is going to get no minutes, because a lot of these people are saying, "Oh, we got to back up. We got a 5. We got to back up 5." I don't see a scenario where you play a third. I feel like we're forgetting that we play in the SEC and how often our guys got in foul trouble. So now it's a luxury where you don't have to have really somebody like Yelovich slide down to the 5, although that could be interesting too. Now you do have an extra body down there when. I mean, we've seen injuries take its toll on the teams in the past, and we've seen what SEC referees like to do to our big guys.
Well, BG is going to start shooting 43%.
Hey, I'm all for it.
I would say
I'm all for it.
I would say people don't know that you're joking when you say that, but I'm starting to question whether you're even joking about that anymore. I think you've started living the bit, and I respect it, and I don't want to stop you.
It does look. He has a very pretty shot. Every time he took one, it was very enjoyable.
After our discussion last
a little more.
After our discussion last week, Ben, was it Synergy that we logged into?
Yeah. Yes.
We were looking at Brandon Garrison. Was it uncontested threes that it said?
Yeah. Right. He was 3 for 10 on uncontested threes, and Braden wanted to know, well, how uncontested were they? And we looked, and they were
incredibly uncontested,
wide open.
And then we looked at
Or
contested
no,
threes.
I think that yeah. The contested ones were also pretty wide open, and he just like a
Yeah.
20% shooter. So
It was
I'm
very
not.
generous with their wording of contested because most of them were at least still a good 3-4 steps away where they were not able to close out in time. And it wasn't very encouraging to say the least in terms of
No.
But
shooting.
But
I'll
his
say that
video,
the shot at least looks nice. I mean,
yeah,
he has a decent stroke, and that's something that Malachi, I'll say, work in progress.
yeah.
Which is shocking given that he had a brother who played D1 basketball who I think was a decent shot. You couldn't have taught him, couldn't have gone
Malachi's
over
gonna be a
this.
boards machine. He's very strong and
Yeah.
very good.
I don't mean to I don't mean to shit on Malachi. I thought he looked great in the McDonald's All-American game and scrimmage. Really excited to have him. I don't mean to shit on him. I just don't think he's going to be a 3-point shooter for us.
Yeah.
John Calipari was able to find a way to have Willie Cauley-Stein, an incredibly raw athlete, contribute on offense. I have all the faith in the world that Mark Pope is going to be able to figure out a way to do it with Malachi Moreno.
Be fun. We have a lot of dudes that we don't know much about either, which is nice because it's gonna give us content all summer. Just trying to catch any highlight videos from practice or whatever. But I do want to talk about Brandon Garrison's return video. Is it the best announcement video that you've ever seen?
It was awesome. It was fantastic. I watched it and I said out loud, "Give me that, Brandon Garrison."
Yeah. Yeah. It had me BG'd up. Rigged up.
Goodness, guys, buy me some time. I have to show everybody our mock-ups for shirts. I'm sorry.
I pulled up Hoop Explorer has Luis as a 34% 3-point shooter, so not terrible. Average, but he didn't take a ton. That was like just about a quarter of the shots he took. So I mean, it's certainly not a liability from behind the line. He definitely would force you to play out, but it's just not a part of his game, and I wouldn't call him a shooter.
But I think the main thing is, can they leave him wide open?
No, yeah, for sure not. And if you leave him open, he'll drive on you, and
Right.
I mean that's the problem other teams are going to encounter. And I think why Florida was as successful as they were, when you have everybody who's at least a decent shot and you can't leave them open. That's all it takes for the spacing to do its thing.
Yeah, Houston, that was like they weren't even a good shooting team, but they were respectable enough that they got to kind of change up being just a Houston, old school Virginia type ball team to what they became at the end of the year.
I don't know if they finished this way, but for a while they were actually the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. They just barely no, they ended up number 3. They just didn't take many of them. They were 287th in volume, but 3rd in percentage. So even still, I mean, you don't need a ton of guys all of whom stroke it. You just need some guys that can create the space.
Create space and
The
still
threat
score.
is
Like OA.
threat.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I never felt great about an OA3.
All right, everybody. We will never fail to shill here on the Catican. So coming soon to the Catican store, we are dangerously close to 500 subs, in which we can link our store to our channel here. Due to our discussion last week and the controversy around whether Brandon Garrison should be on the team next year, we decided to make these t-shirts BG Leave for those who believe in Brandon Garrison. And we don't want the detractors to feel left out, so we also made BG Leave. And then let's say you're a good old fence sitter like me and you don't really want to be part of the discussion here. We have BG Gnostic.
Agnostic. That's good. I forgot about that.
So coming soon to the Catican store there.
Oh.
Fellas, we got any closing thoughts on what a wild week of the transfer portal it's been? We got to figure out a more regular off-season schedule here because the people start clamoring for the Catican when they're not
they've
getting
been
their
they're begging.
regular
They're going
fix.
on Twitter Spaces instead. We got to give people an alternative.
That's true. People were so desperate for content they were turning back to Mark Maggard. We shouldn't allow that to happen.
Man, he was so close to having some credibility.
Dude, maybe that was divine intervention.
I think truly everyone was rooting for him in this specific, very narrow instance,
Yeah.
and it just didn't happen.
Poor guy.
Outside of what we were talking about, I got the Tooth Fairy visiting my house tonight.
Congrats.
Big day in my household. So I thought about this. It was a couple weeks ago. My son lost. It was probably a few months ago at this point. My son lost his first tooth, and my wife, she's great. Love my wife. She's a little bit gullible, and I told her, I was like, when I was a kid, I had a crush on the Tooth Fairy, and she said, "Really?"
The Rock.
I've also told her before, a few years ago, I told her that I had a crush on Jill from the nursery rhyme Jack and Jill, to where I got a very genuine, "Are you serious right now?"
I do this thing where I make up stuff and I forget to tell my wife that I made it up. And then I start hearing her start to tell other people this thing that I made up. And I'm like, whoa, no. It happens like monthly. No.
Is Mark Maggard for Ozzy Mav a fair shitty fan trade? I don't want to touch that one, actually.
Give me both of them.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna be straight
They both create content that I've found interesting at times, and that's about as much as I'm willing to say about either of them.
I would also say we do not expect either to ever appear on this show.
Wow.
It's probably a fair assessment.
True. Why is everyone giving BG so much crap? Everyone's acting like he's a bad player. I think some of it's situational. I think often he got put in with the twos that especially when we didn't have our good point guards, wasn't a good situation. Put a lot of pressure on him to be Amari, and he sort of, like we were saying, you can't plug our guys 1-to-1 into those roles. I don't think it was fair to expect BG to be Amari, especially last year. So I think it sounds like the staff has really high hopes for his development. And so do we.
Yep. Yeah. And also everything he does is very attention grabbing. So when he does do something that is maybe a little bit ditzy, it's very notable. So it's like it could be 100 possessions of good basketball, but one little pass to the bleachers, and that's all people are going to talk about the next day. It's just always in dramatic fashion, usually.
Fortunately, we can't have Ozzy on the pod. Ben won't let us.
I don't know if that's a rule that I've put in place.
Oh boy! All right, guys. Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Time out. One more thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, please.
We had no clue Yelovich was gonna drop on us, right?
No, not at all.
So the staff moves differently than other staffs do, obviously. We will probably have a surprise, like, at some point. It's going to be random. All of the stuff that we talk about, like, at this point is we have no clue who we're targeting, nothing like that. So it could just be like, oh, by the way, we have this commit. If that happens, do we just fire this bad boy up?
Yes.
No, you mean kind of like it happened with Lowe and kind of like it happened with Kam and
Yelovich.
Like it happened with all of our guys last year. And weird.
Some people don't answer the group chat for your boy. So Hmm.
And actually, even JQ and Diabate were both also. I mean, we had a little bit of notice, but it seems like when we have 3 days to sit on it, and the people of the internet are talking about it and putting all this pressure on it and claiming we got them, that doesn't go in our favor. It makes me wonder to what extent a lot of that is agents drumming up interest to maybe play off of other teams. And so I kind of like when they're surprised. It's fun watching people react in real time to like, oh shit, we just got somebody is awesome. Pulling the video, watching it, oohing and eyeing, whatever. You know, I like it when it works out that way.
I thought Caleb was talking about literally firing this bad boy up like we go live when we get a commitment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We should do that too.
Okay.
Eric has got some good takes. I promise it's not me typing in the YouTube comment section.
All right, fellas. I think we'll call that a stream. We'll be back next commitment or next week, whichever one comes sooner. Yeah.
What is today? Tuesday?
Sure is.
Tuesday the 15th, tax day. If you haven't filed your taxes, get that done.
I thought that they moved tax day to the 18th.
Nope.
Oh. Shit.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Catican. Please like and subscribe to the stream. At 500, we are supposed to do our drunk stream, yet we still haven't even paid up on the foot bet yet, Caleb. So
yeah, we need. All right,
I'm
gonna have to start posting.
What are we to do?
I have to paint my toenails still, and take pictures of my feet.
Gotta let them dogs breathe.
Yeah,
I assume they were already painted.
I started it. I have 3 toenails done. 9 to go.
Okay. Yeah. Wait. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Catican. For Kale, for Ben, for Braden, I'm Jared, and go Cats.
Go Cats.